Good evening. You're attending a session of the City of Jacksonville Beach Board of Adjustments. The Board of Adjustments meetings are quasi-judicial in nature. All decisions of the board will be based on competent, substantial evidence, including testimony provided in this meeting. Any person who is not an applicant or agent that wishes to speak will need to fill out a speaker's card located at the side table by the door and turn them into the clerk. Each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak on each item. Please refrain from speaking from the audience, and applause and cheering will not be allowed. Please silence your cell phones. Can we have a roll call, please?
John Moreland.
Here.
Owen Curley.
Here.
Jeff Trular. Jennifer Williams.
Here.
Matt Metz.
Here.
Laura Tierney. Douglas Dell.
Here. Okay, next on our agenda is the approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes for December 17th, 2024 and January 7th, 2025. If everybody has reviewed those, could we have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the prior meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those meeting minutes have been passed. Is there any correspondence that we need to be aware of? Okay. Seeing that we have some old business, why don't we call that first?
I call BOA 24-100089, applicants Salt Air Homes, agent Oliver J. Kraut. Motion to consider sections 34-338E1F for 43% lot coverage in lieu of 35% for construction of a single-family dwelling.
Okay, as a reminder, each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak when we open the public hearing. Does any board member have any ex parte communication?
None.
None.
And I've had none. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in and give their presentation?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Oliver Kraut. I live at 226 Tallwood Road, Jacksonville Beach, 32250. All right, I'm, I guess, in front of you tonight, and I'm requesting a variance for a lot coverage of 43% instead of the 35%. My hardship is that I have a non-conforming lot in width. If the lot was a 60-foot wide lot, I would be at 34.8% on my lot coverage, and the house that I'm proposing to build, new home, would be consistent for what's being built in Jacks Beach, and it wouldn't negatively affect any of the adjacent property owners, and yeah, that's as simple as I can make it.
Okay, does any board member have any questions?
Looking at the lot, it looks like the lot is greater than the 6,000 square foot minimum. It's the width that's off, right? So instead of a 60-foot width, you have a 50-foot width, which would suggest that the depth is deeper than a minimum lot area. Is there a reason that it needs to be as wide as you've proposed versus a deeper structure to fit within the existing land development criteria?
So up and down those streets in there, the lots are all 125 in depth, and I am not going into I'm not affecting the rear setback, the front setback, nor the side setbacks. So I have fitted in within the existing setbacks, not to, negatively impact any of the, neighbors around. So I'm not having to do that even with that lot width. So I've shrunk it to a width and depth up in front that fit. And, it's just that because it's not 60 wide, if it was 60 wide, then I would be within my lot coverage, even staying within those things. I'm not asking to go outside of the setbacks.
That would assume a 125 depth and a 60 width. What I'm saying is, based on the code, the total lot requirement is 6,000 foot to meet the minimum lot requirement, which would be 60 foot wide by 100 foot deep, regardless of what other lots may look like in the surrounding area. And so the coverage exception to say it needs to be 43 instead of 35, I'm just trying to understand that's relationship to width versus using the additional depth that you have that gets you beyond the 6,000 square feet.
I think I'm following you, but, I can't use, if I use the additional depth there, I still, fall within, I still go over on the lot coverage either way. I mean, because of that, I can't go wider, there. I could go deeper, front or back, but in doing so, I still go over the lot coverage if I change the shape at all.
That sounds like a coverage use to me versus a constraint of lot area. That's what I'm trying to rationalize. If the constraint is that your lot isn't as wide as you want it to be, well, you're not asking for any exception around width. You're asking for a total coverage. The total coverage of the lot, as you're describing it, to me, doesn't signal a deficit. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around what you're saying.
I'm actually following now what you're saying. I wasn't, but like in response to that, I think that when I initially discussed this with the city planners and I had my meeting with them, they had indicated to me that a hardship of the lot width was indeed a hardship which would grant the increase for the lot coverage, irrespective of whether it was based on that size or the, or the lot, or whether it's the lot width. So either one of those, one would be size of the lot, one would be the width of the lot. And because that, in that zoning standard, it would be 60 foot wide, either one of those would qualify. And that's why I've gone forward with this thing on the pre-meetings and, what they've indicated to me. So I'm basing it on what I relied on city planners to tell me.
Okay, thank you.
Have you talked to any of the neighbors about this?
Yeah, I've met the neighbor to the east. It's the duplex, but he lives in one side and he's just recently purchased the other side. And, I've spoken to him because the other option would have been to put 4 townhouses there. And I feel myself, that the townhouse kind of thing is oversaturated. And, and then you'd have 4 more units there. He's the only one with a 2-family. The others are single, all the way around me there. And so, then I'm reducing, I think I can make it work, reducing the density from 4 units to 2 units. He was happy with that. That's one neighbor, that I did.
Yeah,
meet.
I just wanted to know his reaction to your plan.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, sir, you could step back, please.
Mhm.
I will now open the public hearing. Do we have any speakers cards?
Not for this property.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who has not yet filled out a speaker's card that wishes to speak? Okay, seeing none, I will now close the public hearing and bring the item back to board for discussion. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve BOA 24-100089 based on the testimony and evidence provided. The request has met all the standards for a variance as outlined in section 34-286 of the Land Development Code.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Substandard lot.
Yeah, I still don't see it as the minimum use of the area. If I'm looking at the criteria we apply, I recognize the lot is substandard in width, but it meets the minimum area requirement, and the ask is on coverage of the area. I think you could use what's there to make the reasonable use of the lot.
Okay, anybody, any more discussion? Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
John Moreland,
Yes.
Jennifer Williams,
Yes.
Matt Metz,
No.
Douglas Dell,
Yes.
Owen Curley.
Yes. Okay, sir, your request for a variance has been approved.
I call BOA 24-100090 applicant Salt Air Homes, agent Oliver Kraut. Property address 419 Fifth Avenue North, Lot 9. Motion to consider sections 34-338E1F for 43% lot coverage in lieu of 35% for construction of a single-family dwelling.
Okay, as a reminder to each member of the public, will be given 3 minutes to speak when we open the public hearing. Does any board member have any ex parte communication?
I've had none.
None.
And I've had none. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in and give their presentation?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
My name's Oliver Kraut. I live at 226 Tallwood Road, Jacksonville Beach, Florida. And should I go through saying all the same things? I'm requesting a variance for 43% in lieu of 35. My hardship is that I have a non-conforming lot in width, and I think it would be consistent with the other homes in the neighborhood, and I don't think it would negatively affect the adjacent property owners, and that I'm reducing the density of the area from 4 units to 2 units.
Okay, thank you. Does any board member have any questions for the applicant? We just talked about it. Okay, sir, go ahead and sit down, please. I'll now open the public hearing. Do we have any speakers cards? No, right?
No,
Okay.
not for this.
Yeah. Is there anyone in the audience who has not yet filled out a speaker's card that wishes to speak?
I do.
Okay. Did you fill out a speaker's card? Sorry, did you fill out a speaker's card?
No.
Okay. Can you be sworn in and then fill one out and then give it to the clerk, please? But go ahead, get sworn in first.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Bruce Paul Wouters. I live at 126 12th Avenue South, Jacks Beach, Florida. And I'm speaking as a private citizen. All I wanted to say was 50 times 125 is 6,250 square feet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Sir, can you fill out that speaker's card, please?
I'd be happy to.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring the item back to a board for discussion. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve BOA 24-100090 based on the testimony and evidence provided. The request has met all the standards for a variance as outlined in 286 of the Land Development Code.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I feel like if we look at item number 5, that the granting of this variance would not be the minimum required to make reasonable use of the lot, given the request is around coverage. The lot size exceeds the minimum outlined in the Land Development Code.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Jennifer Williams,
Yes.
Matt Metz,
No.
John Moreland,
Yes.
Douglas Dell,
Yes.
Owen Curley.
Yes. Okay, sir, your request for a variance has been approved. Can we call the next item, please?
I call BOA 24-100087, applicant Greg Barnett. Property address 2732nd Avenue South. This is proposed Lot A. Motion to consider sections 34-336E1C1 for front yard setback of 20 feet in lieu of 25 feet minimum. 34-336E1C3 for a rear yard setback of 20 feet in lieu of 30 feet minimum. 34-336E1E for 50% lot coverage in lieu of 35% maximum for construction of a single-family dwelling.
Okay, just a reminder, each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak when we open the public hearing. Does any board member have any ex parte communication?
I've had none.
None.
No.
None.
And I've had none. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in and give their presentation?
Greg, yep, sorry.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Greg Barnett, 1280 Plantation Oaks Drive, Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Sorry. So, we are asking for a variance for a front yard setback reduction on Ocean Drive. The second front side yard setback would be the 16 versus the 20% of the total lot width, which is the land use code. We want to get the rear yard setback reduced. This lot is 2 2/3 lots of record. It's lots 5, 6, and 2/3 of lot 7. And we were trying to go for a variance for 50% lot coverage based upon the substandard lot, the irregularity of the lot, and we are keeping the density to 2 lot houses right now. The one that's facing Ocean Drive, that's correct.
Can you say any board members have any questions for the applicant?
I'm just, it's 50% lot coverage is the request on Lot A, which Lot A is listed by the staff is an actual lot area of 7,714 feet versus the minimum expected in that zoning of 10,000. Is that correct?
I believe so, that's right.
So the 50% coverage that you're requesting, I think, on a 10,000 square foot lot, if it was a standard lot, would still be at 38.6% coverage. Anything that you wanted to highlight for us of why that would still need to be higher, even if it was a standard lot, than the 35%?
I'm not following your
Typically-
math, so can you tell me your math on the 38.6%?
50% of 7,714 gets you to lot coverage of 3857. Divide that into the 10,000,
38%,
then you're
right?
at 38.6%.
38% of a standard lot
of a
size.
standard lot.
Correct, sorry, I'm following you.
Versus
So
the-
38% of a standard lot size of 10,000, yes, but since we're substandard, it moves it up to 50.
Right, versus the code being at 35%. So even in a standard lot, this would be above and beyond what a standard lot would receive. So outside of being a substandard lot, from lot size, is there anything you want to highlight around why you feel that the special needs of this certain circumstance merit greater than that threshold?
You're talking about the 3%?
Yeah, getting from the 35 to the 38.6 of what a standard lot would have.
Just the fact that it is substandard, the client has asked me to go for 50% so they could finish the design of the house. We do have a angled front yard. We do have a coastal construction line that we're dealing with the DEP. We're dealing with a couple interesting site conditions. So he was trying to keep the options open. Obviously stay restricted within the setbacks and the boundaries. I know that the new land use code is kind of getting worked on, getting adopted, and we had this in place and it's not been adopted yet. So that's all I can say, I guess.
I'm just going to repeat back maybe the part that I heard that I'm going to hold on to is it's an oblong, like it's an awkwardly shaped lot beyond
Correct.
being substandard size. The awkward shape
It's
gives you
awkward
building
shaped and
constraints.
it's correct.
Did you look at anything to reduce your lot coverage, perhaps in the driveway area, maybe using strips or?
We discussed it. They're trying to adopt the new land use code of 35% of house and driveway and trying to keep with the 50% of everything else. When we spoke with Christian, it was almost let's see if we could try and go for this because there was the vagueness of everything that's happening in February right now.
But we're still under the old Or, you know,
Correct.
it's
We're still under
land
the old
development
code, right? It
They
hasn't
have
been
not changed it at this
That's
point
right.
in
It
time,
hasn't been
so we're
adopted yet.
evaluating it under the current land
That's right.
development code. Would they be
We
willing
would
to?
and we could, yes, look at pervious pavers and other things if necessary, even around the pool deck, you know, using pervious material as well if we needed to.
What is the? Thank you. What is the situation when it rains very much in that particular intersection?
Well, it's kind of interesting because Ocean Drive and 32nd Avenue South is in an AE9. This whole property is in a flood zone X.
Can you speak more into the
Sorry. So Ocean Drive and 32nd Avenue South per survey is in an AE9, but this whole property is in an X. So for flooding, I'm in a flood zone X. So according to the FEMA, it'll never flood for 100 years.
They'll never what?
It shouldn't flood for 100 years for being in a flood zone X.
And they're pretty accurate.
Right.
Yeah. Because I live in that neighborhood.
Okay.
And that intersection and another one, probably about three of them in a row, seem to be heavily watered, and at times we've got dirt and mud and so on in the street.
Mm-hmm.
So that while I think your request is reasonable, it's less reasonable given the reality of the potential flooding situation.
So let me address that, I guess. So we had submitted a wave crest evaluation to Dave Krieger at the DEP, and he has come back and said that there is no scour on this property, but there's actually a 15.1 foot wave crest, and that the Ocean Drive has an elevation point of 9. So we have to build this house with the lowest horizontal structure member at 15.1 feet. So we're going to be 6 feet. The foundation will be 6 feet above the road. So how do you counteract that? We're looking at finding ways to terrace around the property to build it up to keep the flooding on the street and not have our water enter the street or the water from the street enter the property. And it's another way to counteract the 15.1 foot that the DEP requires.
And how do you do that?
What's that?
How do you do that?
What do you mean?
That you're trying to prevent the water from building up. How are you going to prevent the water from building up?
How am I going to prevent water from building up? Are you saying with the terracing and retaining of
Mm-hmm.
the water? So if Ocean Drive is at 9 feet of elevation and the house has to be at 15, I have to make up 6 feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to do is build retaining walls to build up the front of the property. So if you were to walk on Ocean Drive, you would step up steps onto the yard. So we're going to build up the property. It'll be a 2-story structure, and this will help. Is one idea. The other idea would be to build it on stilts, and we could, kind of like you do down in Volano, everything's up in the air, and you're down below with piles. So we're still in a design development phase with the architect. So these are some of the options based upon what the DEP and FEMA requires. Mm-hmm. So we intend to retain our water per the land development code and what the city requires. And we would retain our water on our property.
Yeah. But you want to put 38% of water on your property rather than
35.
Sure,
but the Jacksonville Beach Building Department requires all roof drainage to be hard piped into pipes underground and brought out to the city street so the city stormwater can pick it all up. Mm-hmm. So if I have 50% of my lots covered by a roof, then 50% of my lot roof water is ending in the street, which should be retained by the city public utility department.
Okay.
So we have 6 criteria that we judge all applicants and considering, whether or not to grant a variance. And number 5 is grant a variance that is the minimum variance that will make reasonable use of this parcel of land or building structure. Is this lot coverage that you're asking for the minimum variance? Is this actually the minimum, or is there another lower number that?
Like I said earlier, we're still in the design phase, and when we spoke with zoning, it was the recommendation to just go for this. So we did not really explore the minimum.
So we're not really based on our criteria, we're not the to use a football reference, we're not the Hail Mary pass board. We are
Sure.
the minimum required board.
Okay.
And by acknowledging that there is a minimum that is unknown, if you were to recompute this, I mean, what is the minimum that you?
Now, are you referring to the lot coverage or the
lot coverage?
but you're not referring to the setbacks?
The lot coverage.
The lot coverage. I guess we could explore the 3,500 square feet of a standard 10,000 square foot at 35% would be 3,500 versus 38 and change.
That's not our definition of minimum. Just that's a criteria that we look at as like a reasonability check on things. But I don't want to set that out into the record while we're talking about this. This isn't just me talking to you. Like, this is for everyone, right? It's not if you can hit the minimum for the lot coverage defined in the LDC, then that's what you need to hit.
Mm-hmm.
It's for the lot that you have in the circumstances that it exists in. What is the minimum viable use of that lot that you can amend to? So that doesn't equal that number, but if that's your number, fine. If your number's higher than that, if you need 38%, we just need that to be an understandable justification that that's the minimum. And so if I'm looking at this, comments that I would probably bring up after we have the public comment anyway, and we're saying, hey, we haven't looked at the driveway to see if we want to do that as strips or as permeable pavers, or we could get rid of a covered lanai and not have that option. That gets rid of some of that coverage. So just immediate things that stand out to me is this the minimum? Maybe not. And knowing that there's an option there, looking at criteria 5. I just didn't want to set the expectation that
Sure.
35% of 10,000 equals minimum.
Understood.
That's how you should
So
consider
my
it.
client told me that he wants to design this house. The owner is a gentleman that was intending on building 2, and his wife has actually moved into the existing house, loves the house, wants to remove the house, and wants to move into this front lot. The reason why we're deferring the next variance is because we don't know what we're going to do there. He just wants to keep it as grass right now. So under my client's direction, he gave this to me and said this is the minimum requirement for his house.
So the way that we judge this criteria is based on the parcel of land.
Mm-hmm.
And so the client's minimum criteria for the home that they want doesn't influence the minimum reasonable use of the plot of land. So just as we're considering that, I wanted to give that criteria of what can be put on this land and be viable as a structure as it's zoned versus is it good enough for the person that owns
Sure.
the land. Those are two different. So I understand what I just wanted to clarify that as we talk about what points are going to be considered.
Okay, does any other board member have any questions?
I have none.
Okay, sir, you can step back. I will now open the public hearing. Do we have any speakers cards?
We have a good number of speakers cards. I'll call Chuck and Paige Horn. It says that they wish to address the board.
There's only one copy of each
Oh, I'm
packet.
sorry.
Is that what this is? Oh, I see. Okay, got it. Okay, these are two different. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Charles Horn, and I live at 3115 First Street South.
Thank you.
So basically, I'm on the corner of First Street and 32nd Avenue. So we are right next to these two lots. If you guys will look at the thicker one, the first one has marks on it. It's got like lot coverages on it. It's basically a view of like from the satellite, and it's showing the size of all the lots. It's written in ink. So this whole reason of this top page is showing you that the lot sizes in this area, like our lot size itself, which is right next to the to this adjacent property, is 75 by 80. And if you look at all these lots that are here now, we got 116 by 80, 60 by 77, 55 by 77, 65 by 80, 76 by 76. Nothing is at 50 feet, basically. So is what I'm getting at. Our whole area, everybody's taken the lots that were there originally when they were plotted at like 57 feet or 55 feet when they were plotted, and have added, taken pieces of other lots to make them bigger. So, if you flip the page, you'll see that there's there's 32nd Avenue South, and that's the south side of it. I just was going to show you what the street looks like. And then if you flip the page again, you'll see kind of standing right near Ocean, looking back at the Lot A, Lot B, and then my house, which is 3115, right there. And then if you flip the page again, you'll see that this is the view from my balcony. And lot B will be 7.5. So lot B, basically that house, according to this plot, will be 7.5 feet from my fence, basically. All right, and it will come in somewhere around. There's a little column to the right of that fireplace. That's about where that house will be, 7 foot off my fence. If you flip the page, you'll see my backyard. So my backyard will face their side yard. If you flip the page one more time, you'll see that that's the rear of my house now. And it's got a fence there, and lot B is to the right. And then I just put a couple of pictures of the house. I've got it from 32nd Avenue, a couple of those, and then I also have it from First Street. So why I showed you this is two reasons. One is I wanted to show you that we don't have any 50-foot wide lots anywhere around us in that area. We have to go to like 27 and 28 to actually get 50-foot wide lots. One of the things they're asking for in B is to make it a 50-foot wide lot because they want to put more. They originally had it as 60-foot lot when they came in on the last variances. They had it drawn as 60 foot, and then they decided they wanted 10 more foot for lot A, so they're shrinking up lot B. So
Sir, your time's up. If you could just wrap up.
Okay. No, sorry about that. Didn't mean to take so much time. Basically, I was just trying to show you guys that for somebody to build on a 50-foot lot, if you turn to the other flyer that I gave you, if you turn to that, you'll see it looks like a row home. On 2728, there's 4 houses that were built, and they're all 50-foot lots, and it looks like basically they're almost attached. And so we have such a good I mean, South Jack's Beach is just amazing, and so is Jack's. I mean, everything Jack's Beach is so good. I just don't think we want to make all of our streets look like 27, 28, where it looks like we got row homes. We've got custom, really nice homes going in. People put a lot of energy into it, and I think
Thank you.
making that
Thank
a lot minimal is not is basically too small.
Next speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Simon Rhodes. I take it you're Janet Rhodes?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Please each state your name and address if you have both of you speaking.
We're gonna do it separately,
Okay.
but she's gonna read my words.
Okay. All right. So I'll give you both our addresses, which is the same. So Simon Rhodes and Jeanette Rhodes at 28 31st Avenue South, Jacksonville Beach, 32250. I'm going to read his first. My wife is reading this for me because my speech is impaired. I live north of this lot. We did not attend the prior meeting because we felt that the original request was reasonable. When it rains, there's already a considerable flooding at the intersections of Ocean Drive with 31st and 32nd Avenues. There are no street drains on these corners anywhere on Ocean. This loss of drainage will make it worse. Will the city or the builder install new street drains to remedy this dangerous situation? This increased request for lots A and B feels like a bait and switch and will result in loss of drainage in an already affected location. I ask the committee to reject this new request for both lots A and B. In the words of the builder, he's going for it, as directed by his client. I thank you for your consideration. And then I would like to say, the original public notice letter that we received on December 9th asked for what my husband and I deemed appropriate setbacks and a lot coverage of 36% for both lots A and B, and we chose not to attend the January 7th meeting to show our approval because it was only 1% more coverage. On January 10th, there's a letter of approval for the Board of Lot B setbacks, but not for coverage. Then the second public notice letter, which came January 22nd for the board meeting today, both of the lots A and B increased their lot coverage requests from 36% lot coverage to 50%, with no difference in the site plan. And I'd been told by people at the board that they can build anything they want once they get their percentage, and they don't have to follow the site plan. I'm not sure if that's if that's how it works or not, but now we have no idea what they're going to build if they get the 50%. Since the Department of Planning and Development has worked diligently for an extended period of time to seek approval for ordinance number 2025-8220 for total lot coverage of 35% to include the house and the driveway, and 15 additional for other elements, by no means should this application for variance for 50% be approved or even considered, since it is the intent and will of the city and its people to fairly regulate drainage in new construction. Also, drainage should be yard, not walls. So the whole purpose of the drain system is to leach into grass areas or permeable areas, and whatever can't leach into those permeable areas then goes down to the drain system. But if you've got walls up on around everyone's property, there isn't any way for that drainage to occur. A wall would be tragic in this area because it's very flooded and it's already a dangerous traffic intersection, as there's an entrance to the beach there, and there's just always children with lawn chairs and people crossing, right? So now we've got water, we've got people, we got traffic. I think some other people are going to speak on the danger of that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, Kathleen Lewis.
We- We can share.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Kathleen Lewis. I live at 24 31st Avenue South, Jacksonville Beach. We've owned our property there for over 55 years. The land development meeting was last night. They were going to vote and they postponed it because they want to do a workshop. They are doing the will of the people, and I'm going to ask you to do our will. 50% coverage. If you look at that lot, it's a very nice large lot with a very large house on it. It's a perfect rectangle. It is not non-conforming. There's no disaster or disability for these people to need to build this up. My house, as you can see, is directly behind it. Their house is directly behind it. They want to put the house on it, but they also want to put a pool and a lanai. It's going to be basically butted up right to my backyard, which is going to mean no permeability. It's going to mean that they're going to be basically playing in my backyard with all of the noise. The drainage, the sewage drainage, the rain drainage, since everybody's been approving the houses that are up on the ocean, it has gotten out of control. You cannot even see the sky from this one house. It's like dark. And so therefore now our drainage is even worse. We have puddles, which we never used to have puddles. In the backyard and the windows, they're going to be right on top of us if they have that much coverage. If you look how far back it goes, if you look on the pink and blue lines, you can see it's going to be butted right up to both of our yards. The nature of our community and the environment has changed drastically with all of the permissions for all of these huge coverages on the lots, which is why the planning committee is redoing a 40-year-old plan to have restrictions for 36%, an additional 15% if you want to put pools. But you can't just say here's carte blanche for the 50% because they want 50%, and if you look at that, they still want to put in pools, lanais, et cetera, and completely block up the whole land. So I would like you to vote no. I would like you all to be the stewards of our environment. I'd like you to be the stewards of caring for our homes, our people, Jacksonville Beach, the way it always has been. And I would like you to advocate for us, in the very least by voting no. If you cannot vote no, at least postpone it until the land development meets and these builders are a little more concrete in what they're going to do rather than just doing a Hail Mary so that they can put in whatever they darn well please. I'd like to see, I know the intentions of all the council members is to make these changes. And they're doing these intentions, but what I would like to see from you and from them action by voting no. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I call, now the handwriting's not that great. So Ralph Badnusu. I apologize if I didn't say your name correctly.
My public speaking is just as bad.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Ralph Badadowski, 3201 Ocean Drive South, Jacks Beach, 32250. I live directly across the way on the ocean, and I can tell you 32nd Avenue, every time it rains, a quarter of an inch is flooded at my doorstep and at the entrance of the walkway. So if you add more water, I mean, it's delusional what the guy said. And I also know that the people building the house are not planning on living there. They're moving out after a couple of years and selling it. I've been told that by him. So this is not something this is not a lifetime dream home. I'm going to live there forever. It's to, this is a problem. Yeah, it's, I'm not saying he's trying to make money, but that's basically it. Plus, if you drive down 32nd Avenue into my house, there's no stop sign. I go right into my driveway. It's a one-way street. We have bikes, we have cars going the wrong way constantly. So if I don't stop at that intersection by myself, I can hit people coming from going the wrong direction on the street. So if you add more congestion, and if you look at that corner piece, if I'm coming down here on that thing, I can't see the people or cars coming. So I'm faced with traffic from three directions. And I'm concerned somebody's going to get hit. My neighbor also
almost hit somebody the other day. Plus, my neighbor, he had to go to Australia because his brother's dying of cancer. He wrote a letter. We write to share our concern with variance, whatever. We enjoyed living at 3205 Ocean Drive South for over 30 years. Our concern is the safety and public of the intersection at Ocean Drive and 32nd Avenue South. This is a busy intersection used by motorists, skateboarders, cyclists, and pedestrians. The public access to this beach at this intersection is very active. With the proposed new setbacks, these homes will be closer to the street. We are concerned this variance may negatively impact visibility for those on the streets at this intersection and jeopardize safety. They, again, don't wish to have this voted for. So, you know, I don't mind them building a house there, but I think this is kind of overkill. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And the next three do not wish to speak, but they oppose our passing these variances. That is Carla Lewis, Norma Badnowski, and Ken Lewis.
Okay, is there anyone else in the audience who has not filled out a speaker's card that wishes to speak? Okay, seeing none, I'll invite the applicant back to the podium, and you can address any of the points raised by the public.
Okay. When Chuck Horn was talking about the lot sizes, we're not talking about the back lot. This variance request is on the front lot, and the lot is 103 feet wide, not 50. The flooding with the seeping and the percolation into the land, if we have to build the property up a few feet, that the sock pipe of a drainage system would almost enact like a septic system in a drain field. So wouldn't it be better that you add more soil to the land before the water comes out to the street, which would be down at grade, to allow the water to seep through to retain more water on the property than any other lots out there? I would also say that the 36% issue, I guess we would say, was because it was written wrong. That's why last variance meeting we only voted on the setbacks and we postponed the lot coverage because it was recorded and written wrong. So it got published incorrectly. I think that's everything.
Okay, thank you. I will now close the public hearing and bring the item back to board for discussion. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve BOA 24-100087 based on the testimony and evidence provided. The request has met all the standards for variances outlined in section 34-286 of the Land Development Code.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I'm not satisfied that this is a minimum that's necessary for this building here. So I don't think it's met that requirement.
I agree with you. I'm looking at number 5 of our current Land Development Code, section 34-286. Section 5 says granting a variance is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the portion of land, building, or structure. I do have an issue with that, since we know that this is sort of a get as much as you can request and not this is what we actually need. Anyone else? Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Jennifer Williams,
No.
Matt Metz,
No.
John Moreland,
No.
Douglas Dell,
No.
Owen Curley.
No. Your request for a variance has been denied. Can we call the next one?
The next one was deferred, I believe.
Oh.
That was a
that's it.
100088, and
Yeah.
I believe that was deferred, correct?
Okay, planning department report?
We still don't have any new variance meetings since the LDC got pushed back again. The next workshop is on February 20th, and then after that, the next reading will be on on March 3rd. And that's it.
Thank you.
Is there an update on post-workshop, how many times the code will need to go in front of council again, or is it expected to be that the council votes after that workshop?
Yeah, after that workshop, that would technically be the first reading again because they didn't really vote, and then they'll have a second one to adopt it.
Okay, now it's traditionally our courtesy of the floor to any visitors. Oh, no, that's not what that's for. Hold on a minute. Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.